Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the loving kindness class here at the Dharma Bum Temple, kind of our online version. My name is Alex. It is wonderful to be here with you tonight, as it is every night that I do this class and share some time and some practice with you. Thank you so much to all the people who have logged in and who said hello. Tamara, hello. Jean, hello. Brian and Linda, hello. Wonderful to see all of you again, as always. This will be the last time I do this from my home here tomorrow. Next class, which is next Wednesday, we will be at the Dharma Bum Temple having this class. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to do it online as well. But I am not 100% sure on that. I actually haven't even asked, but I will do that. I will not be there for the class next week, as I will be on vacation in Sedona. So someone else will be there and doing their thing. But it doesn't matter if I'm there or not. You could always still go and share in some loving kindness, or at least log on and do the same thing. So we have Tamara and Jean. Oh, there's there's 4 people logged on, and now there's 1. I wonder if some people are. Or maybe it's just more than 1. Oh, hi, Sherry. Wonderful to see you again as well. Thank you. So it looks like there's more than 1, because what it looks to me like there's only 1 person logged on, but I know there's more than 1 person logged on. All right, don't know what's going on. Don't care. I'm sure everything is fine. I haven't had a vacation in the last couple of years, not since COVID, certainly. My last vacation was just a month before COVID. And it's been 2 years now. So, I'm a little worried, but because Arizona's not great at stopping the curve or anything like that. But I will be spending a lot of time outdoors and hiking and early and during the week and when everyone else is at work or in school or whatever. So I hope to have a whole lot of alone hiking time, which should be super fun. I'm really looking forward to that. All right. So if there's anyone who is logged on who is brand new, who's not logged on before and doesn't know what this class is about, this class is the Loving Kindness class, where we do a loving kindness meditation. The word in Buddhism that we're talking about is this word called metta, M-E-T-T-A, and this is a wonderful word. It's the first of the 4 heart practices in Buddhism, and the one that really will give you your foundation for the rest of the heart practices. And metta, when translated into English 2,500 years later, can mean a lot of things. It could mean loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill, and really it's just a wish to be happy, a wish for ourselves to be happy, a wish for others to be happy, and a wish for ourselves and others, more importantly, to do the things that cause happiness, right? And so you might be asking, well, what causes happiness in Buddhism? And so we like to make it really, really simple here. And so the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple is think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. And so these are the things that cause happiness. And, another reason I think maybe this is a really good motto is that, this kind of motto is really, really old, and it's not Buddhist. Other religions understand this. And so in Buddhism, these are the things that cause happiness, at least at the base level, they cause happiness. Things that cause happiness don't do any harm, and they are contribute to the welfare of ourselves and to the welfare of another. And so we really try to focus a lot on loving kindness for ourselves and loving kindness for others as much as we can, because again, it is the foundation for the rest of the Buddhist heart practices. So we do a lot of this. So hello, Cynthia. Wonderful to see you, as always. And so maybe we can start with, before we get into the meditation, maybe we can start with, kind of what's going on with you. If there's anything that's happening that's really on your mind. It could be Ukraine, it could be whatever it might be, and maybe we can even do our practice of loving kindness, especially for um, uh, people of Ukraine or some other group that you might be thinking of. You can do it for whatever you want. It doesn't have to do it. You don't have to do it for whatever what else is doing it for. Right. So, um, the other interesting thing that's kind of been going on is because of COVID, because of I work at home and I spend a lot of time by myself. I kind of find myself on social media a lot, and lately there's just been a lot of just drama and whatever on social media, and it's something that I've really I'm really glad that I haven't gotten involved in at all. I see it, and I've unfollowed people that were involved in it, so I don't have to listen to it instead of like feeding on it and like watching it all the time. We talked a little bit about this last week about how do you feed? What do you feed on? Do you feed on things to make you happy, or do you feed on things that bring suffering? And we talked a lot about Ukraine and kind of what's going on in Ukraine, and it's still going on, and it's still very sad, and it's still very heart wrenching, and all those different types of things. So many people getting hurt, and it's okay to keep abreast of what's going on and to have do loving kindness practice and compassion practice for the people of Ukraine, just so wishing them that they're not harmed and that they're healthy and that they're safe, and things like that. But sometimes because the news is it's 24/7 now. If you log CNN and NBC and Fox News and all these other news outlets, it's like 24/7 news. So something is always breaking, and something is always on the chyron going along the bottom of the screen that we always want to look at and get the latest updates on it. And it's something that can be really, really, really addictive. And we feed on this. And what we're feeding on is suffering. We want to be happy, but we keep on feeding on this suffering. It's okay to keep abreast of what's going on, but you don't have to watch 3 and 4 hours of news every day. Which I know a lot of people do. They're like news junkies, and they kind of fancy themselves like political wonks, if you will, and things like that. And it's one of the things that I know what's going on, and I always want to know what's going on. But once I know what's going on, it's like, okay, I know what's going on, and I can now step away from that. And so I'm not feeding on that anymore. So be very, very careful about what you're feeding on, because if what you're feeding on just causes a lot of suffering, this is really, really addictive. Excuse me. So just be as mindful as you can and say, okay, I've got my information. I can go do something else now. So it looks like you're all doing great and wonderful. I don't have anything else to talk about, which is fine. Look, if you think of something, like during the meditation, you want to talk about it afterwards, we can do that. Since it really looks like we have a lot of the regulars on tonight, that's great. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a meditation without a whole lot of guidance. And I tend to like these meditations, and I think you tend to like these meditations too. So it's the same loving kindness meditation. I'm not going to do a ton of guidance since y'all know what you're doing, right? All right. So let me get everything ready here. All right, now get into your meditative position, please. Get nice and comfortable. Do whatever stretching you have to do. And then here we go. So for the first few moments of this meditation, let's just get connected to the breath, focusing on the breath at the base of the nostrils, just feeling the air go in and out as you breathe, and really finding that breath that's going to be really comfortable for you. One breath that will keep you, focused as much as possible on what's going on right here and right now. This kind of present time awareness. A breath that nourishes the body, that nourishes the mind. And so we'll just do this for the next few moments just to kind of get into the breath and into this mindful practice. To begin our practice of loving kindness, let's start with a benefactor. I'm just radiating loving kindness to this benefactor, wishing them health, safety, happiness, wishing they do the things that cause happiness. You can even smile while you do it. It puts the mind in a better mood when that happens. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness, just radiating loving kindness to our benefactor. And now shifting our focus from doing this practice, radiating loving kindness to our benefactor, to now just imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. We've already experienced their love and kindness to us, which is why they're a benefactor. So we can imagine them looking at us, smiling, and just radiating loving kindness to them, wishing us happiness, wishing that we do the things that cause happiness. And the only thing we have to do is let all of their loving kindness into our own hearts. Just letting as much of that into our own hearts as possible. If there's any tension, any part of our heart that just can't receive that, it's okay. No need to get discouraged. Can you then just use that breath energy and send that breath energy into that tightness, into that uncertainty? That's it. Just let it do its thing. Give it some space. And just keep letting all of your benefactor's loving kindness into your heart. And we'll do this for the next few moments. And of course, smile. And now, probably the most important part of this meditation, can we now do this practice for ourselves? You can either radiate loving kindness back onto yourself, or you can just gently repeat phrases of loving kindness to yourself over and over. First, just calling to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be safe and healthy, free from danger or harm. And just repeating one or more phrases like, may I be happy, may I be safe from inner and outer danger, may I be well in body and mind, may I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Just silently repeating one or more of these phrases to yourself over and over. Not needing to evoke a response, just repeat them over and over. And of course, smile, because that always helps. And so we'll do this practice for ourselves. And finally, we can explore this limitless quality of the heart and direct our loving kindness to all beings in all directions, whatever living beings there may be, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be at ease. You can do this practice for a specific group of people, for all beings. It's up to you. And so we'll do this to end as the last part of our meditation. Just so open your eyes when you're ready. Let's just take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs, while still keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. So we'll just let's give it another 30 seconds and then we'll get to it. If you have any questions, comments, just type it in the box and we'll get to it. So this is, again, a good opportunity to share your experience of meditation. If there was any part of this meditation that was easier or more difficult, anything that you personally were kind of going through that made this meditation easier or difficult, or that was beneficial to you, would love to talk to you about it, of course. And so I'm just going to kind of start with Tamara's comment. There's kind of a delay, so I kind of got this after I hit the bell, I think. But first of all, hello, Marcel. Nice to see you. And so Tamara was saying, as normal has never been a particularly comforting notion before the pandemic. It's not particularly comforting now. It's not that I'm having trouble getting back to normal. It's just not desirable. And that kind of begs the question. First of all, Tamara, thank you so much for your comment. What is that? What does that word mean? I mean, as a one person who's relatively regimented, like I do certain things at certain times of the day, and it's this kind of regimentation is very comforting to me. The pandemic just blew all of that out, right? It just kind of stopped all of that, and it was really interesting, and it was really on one hand, there was some fear and uncertainty going on, but that fear and uncertainty was somewhat exhilarating in a way, because it kind of shook me out of my normal kind of mode of doing the same different types of things every day. And now it's not over. There's BA2 that's out there, and the medical folks are saying, don't be too quick to relax all these restrictions quite yet. But after 2 years, people are getting sick of it. So we're kind of fighting with that as well. And it's a different world now. It's absolutely a different world, and it's but as different as it is, it's the one that we live in. And so we have to kind of really understand how we're going to relate to this difference or to this new world, and it's fun. It's not fun. I mean, maybe that's not the word I want to use. It's interesting to see what's kind of going on. All these changes are interesting. And, especially now with this conflict going on, that's on top of the pandemic, it's throwing things into chaos. And as Buddhists, we're taught to expect that and to not kind of rest on what normal is. There isn't a normal, and always be prepared for everything and to live life fully. So I was listening to a Dharma talk and they mentioned a term I was not familiar with. Can you talk about hungry ghosts? And this is from Linda. Yeah, sure, absolutely. And you know, this hungry ghost is a metaphor, right? That's how I like to look at it. In Buddhism, there are apparently like these 31 planes of existence, and it's said that um, when the Buddha was becoming enlightened, when he was sitting underneath the Bodhi tree struggling for enlightenment, one of the things that happened is that the earth tilted on his axis in such a way that he can see all 31 planes of existence. And he can see all of these beings there in, various states of heaven and hell and, there because of their own karma, and one of these kind of states that can also be looked at as just a state of mind is the hungry ghost, where you're always consuming, and it's just never enough. And how they visualize this is a person who's just ravenously hungry, but their throat is only wide enough to allow one grain of rice at a time. And so that's the metaphor that you're given, right? You're hungry and hungry and ravenous and ravenous and ravenous, but you can never get enough. The grasping and the clinging, these things that cause suffering is great, and that's all is grasping and clinging. Right? And so that is a hungry ghost, and that is a couple levels down below the human level if you're kind of looking at these 31 planes of existence. But another great thing about these 31 planes of existence is that, you can look at them literally, which is really fun to do in kind of Buddhist cosmology, but they can also be looked at as states of mind. And if you take a look at like a lot of rich people who the only thing that they want to do is make money and make more money and make more money and make more money. And they may have these opulent lives where they have lots of money, but they just want more. They just want more. That's an example of a hungry ghost, right? As a state of mind. And it's, Buddhist cosmology is something that is unbelievably fascinating. It is unbelievable because it talks about all of these 31 planes of existence, from the lowest hell to the highest heaven, and how they can be looked at as states of mind. And so that's kind of what that is. So hopefully that was helpful to you. So Sylvia says it was difficult to send love to myself. Absolutely, of course it was. I'm with you. I feel you. And as humans here, this is usually the most difficult part of the meditation, because we're conditioned to think that this is somehow something we shouldn't be doing, that is selfish, that is wrong. And this thinking is completely the opposite in traditionally Buddhist countries. In traditionally Buddhist countries, this is second nature, because they're taught to do this at a very early age. They're taught to, like in Thailand, they're taught to, like from the age of 2 or whatever, they're taught to put their little spoonful of rice in the monk's bowl, and they bow, the gesture of respect. They don't really know what they're doing at that age, but they eventually kind of learn that this is a mark of respect and an act of loving kindness, an act of generosity, and this is a way to help the monk, and it helps you as well, right? And so this kind of open-heartedness. And so they're taught, from early on, that loving kindness for yourself is the most important. So it's really, really easy for them. Here we're taught the exact opposite. We're not really taught that. Children have this natural empathy, this natural goodness and loving kindness just ready to be developed. And a lot of times, and we condition them out of that. And so we get, people in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s who who just consume and consume and consume but if they get to Buddhist practice, it's like they're being taught something that should be really, really natural, but is so unbelievably foreign. And so have as much loving kindness and compassion for yourself when those feelings come up. And something that's really, really good that I talked a little bit about during the meditation was that, when these feelings come up, it's usually like a stuckness in your body somewhere or in your heart. You feel this kind of stuckness, like, oh no, this doesn't feel right at all. And that's great. And you don't have to be afraid of that feeling. What you can do is just acknowledge that. This is why putting your hand over your heart is really, really beneficial in this practice for yourself, so that when you feel this tightness in your body, because it will manifest in your body, when you feel this tightness, you can gently acknowledge it and say, I understand. And you can use this breath energy to just give that tightness, that inability to do this practice for yourself, that self-denigration, that self-hatred, that, whatever you want to call it, just give it a little space. You don't have to change it. Just give it space. Give it a bigger space to kind of do whatever it's going to do. And a lot of times, over time, and with, continued practice, you have more wisdom, and you'll see, oh, yeah, this actually feels better when I have loving kindness for myself. Because then that naturally will spill over to other people, where it's not even an effort. Right? It'll be easy to do it. Okay, so Sylvia, I hope that helped. Linda, thank you. I appreciate that. But if you haven't learned a lot about Buddhist cosmology, it's again a wonderfully fascinating topic, and I think Travis in the Thursday class talks about it sometimes. I think, but it's really interesting, and it stresses. The wonderful thing that I like about it is that it stresses, even though there's these 31 planes of existence from the lowest hell to the highest heaven, all of these 31 planes of existence are absolutely impermanent. Whether it's the lowest hell or the highest heaven, eventually you're not done. You haven't reached nirvana. You haven't reached, you haven't reached the final goal. They're all impermanent places. And you might think that, oh, it's so wonderful to be in this highest heaven, but the problem with being in this wonderful heaven, even though you did a lot of good deeds to get there, is you can't really hear the Dharma as well, because it's too wonderful. It's too wonderful all the time. The hells are too much suffering all the time, and the heavens are too much wonderfulness all the time. And so they always say that the human level, which is fifth from the bottom of these 31 levels, we're fifth from the bottom. This is the perfect place to be. This is where you want to be, because this is just the perfect mixture of pleasure and pain. We have pain, we have suffering, but not enough that it can consume us for the rest of our lives. We have the option of getting ourselves out of that and being able to hear the Dharma and do the practice and get ourselves out of suffering. Yet we don't have too much pleasure where, we can never hear Dharma, because everything is too wonderful, kind of like these hungry ghosts we were talking about, who could be on this human plane, where everything is I have so much money, and my money just makes more money. And what kind of spiritual teaching are you going to hear really with that, right? All right, so we have got a couple of questions, which is really good. Does anybody else have anything? We have a few minutes left. Happy to take any questions, any comments, anything you want to say, anything you want to add. I'm happy to hear it. So I'll just use the next minute just to kind of say nothing and just kind of listen to see if we have any questions. It's not over, of course, but 2 years is a long time. It is absolutely a long time. It is absolutely a long time, and it's not over. And so we'll see what happens next. Have no idea what's going to happen next, but we'll see. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I really appreciate it. I always love doing this. Again, we will be in the temple. I won't, but the class will be in the temple next week. So hope to see you there. And we will. Oh, before we go, that Sylvia, just keep on doing loving kindness for yourself. Is that use the technique I just gave you? Remember to breathe. And we'll talk about this when I come back. Okay. Thank you, guys. I hope you are all well, and we'll see you next time. Much love to you all. Bye now.